Hey, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I love coming on and chatting with you guys every single Tuesday. It is one of the things that I look forward to in my week. So thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Today, we're going to talk about how to discover your entrepreneurial superpower. I literally just had a freak out moment where I was like, did I spell entrepreneurial right? Don't judge me if I didn't. Nobody look at it. Don't look. Oh, I can't cover it up. Um, spelling is not my entrepreneurial superpower. Actually, I'm okay at spelling. Probably not my superpower. All right. So, what we're going to be talking about today is literally how to design a life that you love. And this is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's like the whole purpose of what we do. We've actually been going through some exercises lately about really narrowing down on what is the purpose and the vision and the mission of the Virtual Savvy and really digging into some of these things. And I have found so much about like, man, I love helping people do what they love to do. I love like the freedom life, right? But that means something different to every person. And I think that one of the ways that you can do what you love is to really learn more about yourself and really find your strengths and find your weaknesses and design a life around the things that you absolutely love to do. And that is it's my passion. It's what I love doing is helping other people figure that out. So that's what we're going to talk about today is how to actually figure that out, how to figure out what your entrepreneurial superpower is so that you can help people, so that you can have better packages, so that your services can be something that you actually enjoy doing because you don't want to end up like me when I first started my business, right? So, when I first started my virtual assistant business back in 2015, I I looked up what does a VA does and literally like copy paste those will be my services, I guess, right? Like I didn't know any different. I just weeded out the ones that I literally maybe didn't know what they were. I'm like building funnels. I don't know what a funnel is, so let me take that one off, right? But all the other things I just left. And so it meant that there were a lot of services when I first started out that did not match my personality, that did not match my passions, that I wasn't even good at, right? And so, like, for instance, one of the things that was on there was appointment setting phone calls. If anyone knows me, I am like the worst. Like, I'm so bad at calling and texting people back. Like I lose my phone all the time. I am not one of those people that has my phone attached to me all the time. I'm like really I'll go half a day and be like, I have no idea where my phone is. Like I'm just not that kind. I don't know what it is, like out of sight, out of mind. Like I'm just not very good at it. And I like had a baby at home too. And so I'm trying to like make phone calls and be really quiet to do it was just a terrible service. And so that's just one example. I nixed it from my list pretty quickly, but I wish I knew then what I know now, which is, let me design something that I actually love doing. So, first, let me know in the comments, is this something like a process that you've gone through, right? Have you actually designed your services to match your personality, to match your strengths, to match your passions? If so, let me know in the comments. Let me know what they are too, because I think that would be really insightful for other people to hear as well. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to do work that we don't love, right? Why why would we do any of this, right? Why would we, go out on our own, face the hardships of entrepreneurship because you guys know it's not easy. It's not easy to start your own business. There's pitfalls, there's fears, there's insecurities, there's so much that happens. But it's only worth it if you know the end goal is that freedom life, is that, oh my gosh, I'm going to love what I'm doing once I get through this, right? And that's not saying that you're never going to do things that you don't enjoy in your business. In the very beginning, when you start your business, you have to wear all the hats. It's unless if you just have like, extra money just laying around to hire people right off the bat. But in the beginning, you have to do the operations and the marketing and the sales and the admin and, right? Which we'll talk about a little bit because I do believe like if you can outsource one-time projects that aren't your strengths in the beginning, like the money, that investment would be well worth it. But if you don't have the finances to outsource anything, then you literally have to do it all which is why one of our core values is action over perfection, because we know that sometimes you have to do things that aren't your strengths and it's not perfect, but you just got to get it done, right? And you'll upgrade later. And so that definitely happens, especially when you're first starting out in business. But at the end of the day, you know that you're working toward this life that you love, right? Um, and for a lot of you, that's the why. Like you decided on a why when you first started your business, or hopefully you did. If you know your why, put it in the comments. Um, you started like, this is why I want to do what I'm doing. And you know that everything you're doing is leading up to that why. But at the same time, you want to enjoy the process too. So that's why we're talking about how to find your entrepreneurial superpower. Essentially, I'm going to talk about 3 ways to do work that you love. One of the things that I would recommend if you haven't done already is to take our quiz. We're going to be talking a lot about personality quizzes, and this, though, actually, all the ones that I'm saying today do come with a price tag. Are free versions, but I'm going to be sharing with you like the official ones, which come with a price tag. But this is a free quiz, so if nothing else, at least take this because it's virtual assistant specific, right? So it's going to show you how to like what kind of services you would best be suited toward based off of your personality. It's a really great quiz. Okay. I've taken it and it was spot on. Oh my gosh. And everybody who's gone through it absolutely loves it. So make sure you take our, personality quiz for your virtual assistant business. You can figure out which type of services would be best for you. Have any of you guys taken the quiz before? Let me know. All right. Yeah, this is Bridget. I was gonna pull up some comments. I have administrative experience, not something I really like, but trying to add it into my business. I don't have technical skills or expertise, so I'm limited in what I can offer. I disagree with that, Bridget. We're going to talk about it today because I truly believe that every person, we think tech, we think admin, we think creative, but I have a feeling that there are skills that you actually have based off of your strengths and personality that you could offer as services. So I think this is going to be really, really good. Awesome. So let's keep going. I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways to do work that you absolutely love, that you enjoy the journey, right? So the first way is to recognize that your services aren't going to look like others. And so maybe you've read our blog posts, right? We have a blog that's 101 services you can offer as a virtual assistant, right? And I love that blog post because I think it's an eye opener. And we know that that list isn't even exhaustive, right? There are more services, there's more tools that have come off. I mean, you could literally take any one tool that exists in the world. Like there are people who are ClickUp specialists now, right? There are people who are ConvertKit specialists, and like they just found one tool that they love and they just become an expert at the one thing. There are people who, really fall in love with a genre and they do all the admin or all the creative things. Like I do only social media for wedding professionals, right? I mean, there's so many variances. Even when we list that 101 services to offer as a virtual assistant, there's so many variances off of that. And so, many of us start just like I did, and there's nothing wrong with it, but we start off just kind of, okay, let me copy paste and just do the ones that I at least know what they are, right? But over time, you will refine that and you'll kind of find, oh, this is what I really like doing. And I do think there's an element of experimentation in that, right? Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you love doing until you do it. I didn't know that I wouldn't love appointment setting phone calls until I started setting appointments. And then I was like, oh, I hate this, right? Like, I don't want to do this. I also, in the same way, like, I used to always just think I was really good at admin because those were the jobs that I had. I mean, my very first job ever, I was like an assistant to my youth pastor when I was like 16, right? For a summer. And I'm like, okay, I can do admin, but it didn't mean that I loved it. One of my strengths is leading a team. Like, I love managing people. I'd never managed people, so I didn't know I loved managing people until I did it, right? So there's certain things that you won't discover until you just walk the journey. But the things that you do know, like the services that you do choose, like know that it's okay if it doesn't look like other people's, right? Like you and your unique personality, you crafting your services around what you actually love to do is going to make you better at your job. It's going to make you better at your services. You're going to be more eager to learn about it, right? I know that I'm obsessed with marketing. I love marketing. So I can geek out on marketing videos, marketing ebooks, marketing courses, like anything marketing. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Like I just love it, right? Because it's and so when you're doing things that you love, you want to learn more about it. So that would be my first piece of advice is just kind of a like recognizing what I do probably isn't going to look like other people. And that's okay. It's actually a positive thing. So I don't need to be nervous or insecure if what my services are don't look like somebody else's, right? Um, oh, this is so awesome. You guys, I'm seeing just looking at your comments. Sorry. I switch over sometimes to look at your comments. I get distracted. Okay. Number 2. Again, we're talking about 3 ways to do work that you love. And number 2, I think is probably one of the most important is to know thyself, right? That's like an old, I think, Greek proverb or something. I was looking it up, kind of its origins, but essentially it's been used for thousands of years, is know thyself. And I think that this is a journey that I started in my 20s. Is I took my very first ever personality quiz in college. And I remember this whole world opened up to me of like, oh, that's who I am, And like I kind of already knew it. Some people hate personality tests. If that's you, that's fine. I love them because I'm really bad at identifying my own feelings, identifying my own strengths and weaknesses. I'm just kind of like, oh, I am what I am, right? And so for me to like read it on paper and be like, yes, oh my gosh, that's what I love doing. This is so much about that is how I recharge. That is how I think. That is how I feel. It was really eye opening for me, and so I think that just starting the process of self discovery was something that happened in my 20s. It evolved into my 30s. There was like first the process of getting to know myself, and then there was process of like actually liking that person. I don't know if anybody else went through that in like their 20s or 30s. That was for sure a process for me, and probably still is a process. But really just digging into like this is important that I know myself, because the more that I know myself, it's going to make me happier. It's going to make me better at relationships. I cannot tell you how much personality has weaved itself into my relationships, into my friendships, into my marriage, right? Like I'm a better person because I can communicate to my husband, "Hey, I'm going to act like this." And it's not, you know what I mean? Like I'm a very black and white person. I'm not super nostalgic, right? So like, "Hey, I don't have any like mementos from like our first dates and stuff." Like I lose stuff all the time. I'm just not a nostalgic person. And so I can say that and know like that's not going to hopefully come across hurtful if you just know that that's the way that I am, right? And so I think learning more about yourself is one of the processes to living your dream life, is to know, hey, here's what I like, here's what I don't like, here's my personality, here's what's going to work well with me in relationships, right? And that will really come into play when you start getting clients as well. Because if you know yourself, then you're going to know the type of clients that are going to work well with you and the ones that don't. Does anybody let me know? It's okay to be honest. I am a people pleaser. I generally like people. Like there's very few people I've met in my life that I don't like. Like I just like people. I find the best in people. It's one of my strengths is positivity. And so I'm like, oh, like whatever, everyone's different. And but there have been a few people, and I could probably count on one hand. I won't name their names. There have been a few people in my life that I'm like, I just don't like that person. Like I just don't get along with their personality. Like we just do not vibe. And when you know yourself and you know, does anybody feeling me? The personalities that you just clash with, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like we're all created differently. And so we all have these different personalities, and some of them just don't work well together. And so I've met those few people in my life. Don't worry if you're listening. None of them are currently in my life because I never formed friendships with those people, right? And maybe if I did, I would have actually liked them. Who knows? But you start to realize these are the people that I work well with and these are the people that I don't work well with. And so part of that process is knowing yourself, of knowing what type of clients you're going to work well with. Let me know in the comments if you know the type of people that you work well with. I would really love to hear that. Or maybe the type of people that you don't work well with. Like I don't work well with people who are going to be micromanagers, or I don't work well with people who are too loosey goosey, like, oh, whatever you want. Like if they don't have, if you already know that, let me know in the comments, because I'm really interested in that. And I love this, Samantha. Dogs are better than people. That's awesome. See, that's a different personality. I'm not, oh, I shouldn't tell you that. Don't hate me. I'm not much of a dog person. I'm really not. I'm just, again, I'm not like touchy-feely, nostalgic type of thing. I like to cuddle my kids. Sometimes after a while, I'm like, okay, you can sit over there. That's terrible. You got to know yourself though, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Be who you are. In the same way, number 3, know your strengths and weaknesses. I really do love my children. Don't worry. Know your strengths and weaknesses. And this has really been the past year for me. So my first few years, I took a lot of personality tests, found out more about who I am, really started to mold my services around the things that I love. I became a copywriter. That's kind of what I niched down to over time. So I went from general VA, leading a team, to leading a team in copywriting, were my main services, because I love the creativity part of it. Like I love writing, And so I found that over time, and it was a strength of mine. I also found out the things that were weaknesses. And again, this was huge for me. And this past year has really been a process of refining my strengths and weaknesses, and really leaning more into my strengths and stopping beating myself up for my weaknesses, right? And so we'll talk about that in a second. So how do you get to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right? Well, I have 3 different resources for you. So we'll dive into that. Somebody did ask in the comments, where do we find the quiz? One of the free quizzes that you can take. And again, this quiz is a quiz that we created over at the Virtual Savvy. My amazing team came up with this quiz. It is spot on. It is such a great quiz. And it is specifically to identify what type of services you should be offering in your virtual assistant business. Okay. And some of you might get to the end of it and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be a virtual assistant. Maybe I should be something else. And that's fine too. We give you like different types of VA niches that you can do after taking this quiz. It's totally free. So the resources I'm going to be giving you about knowing your strengths and weaknesses are paid resources, although there are free ones out there as well. But knowing your strengths and weaknesses, the third, we talked about 3 ways to do what you love. Number 1, recognize your services won't look like anybody else. Know yourself, and specifically know your strengths and weaknesses. And something that I've really been leaning into this past year is learning, again, who I am, learning my strengths, learning my weaknesses, recognizing my weaknesses, and stopping feeling bad for it. Like, I'm just not going to be great at stuff. And I am less of a let me try to make all my weaknesses strengths, and more of a let me pass on my weaknesses to let somebody else do those things so that I can only do my strengths. That is if you're talking about how to be happier in your life, how to be happier in your VA business, how to be happier just in everything you do, man, I am happiest when I'm just doing what I'm strong at, to be honest. So I've had to recognize that my weaknesses aren't weaknesses. They're an opportunity for somebody else's strength. And that's the beauty of all of us having different personalities, is that something that I'm not strong at, right? I am terrible at execution. I am terrible at attention to detail. When I was in, working traditional jobs, going to job interviews, it was always one of the questions. It didn't matter if I was going to be a waitress at Shoney's, which I was. Do you have good attention to detail was one of the questions. And I'm not going to lie, I had to lie. I'm pretty sure I lied in every single interview, because I'd be like, yeah, what are you going to say? No, like that. Oh, that's why I never liked working general 9-to-5 jobs, because they all wanted you to be strong at attention to detail. And I would sure pretend, but the reality is I am not, right? And so when I started a business, one of the first things I did was I outsourced the things that had attention to detail, right? systems and processes and like crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Like I'm just not good at that stuff. And so how much happier I became when I found a right-hand person, right? When I found a Melissa, when I found somebody who was good at all of that. And maybe for some of you guys, you're like, oh, I am systems and processes all day. Like admin, give me more admin, give me more admin, but puke. I like to talk about myself, to market myself. Ugh. And at the beginning, you do have to do that, right? Like, unless again, you can immediately hire somebody else to help with these things. But the great news is that very quickly, if you have a good marketing plan, you'll be able to outsource a huge portion of the things that you don't love to somebody else. And that is the dream life, right? Like when you can start living a life where you are the majority of the time, 80, 90%, only doing things that are actually your strengths, you're going to enjoy your life so much freaking more. Okay. So, yes, let me dive into again knowing your strengths and weaknesses, my favorite tools. So the very first test I ever took was Myers-Briggs. Anybody taken Myers-Briggs? Drop in the comments if you know. I will tell you my personality for all of these. I'm an ESFP. If you've never taken Myers-Briggs, you have no idea what that is, but essentially, I am an extrovert. I energize being around people, which again, know thyself. I have a remote job. This is my home office right here, which means at least once a week I got to get to a coffee shop. I went and worked at Panera yesterday because I'm like, I just need to be around people. And I need to, if I'm going to be happy doing what I'm doing, I have to make it at least once a week where I'm like going out to lunch with somebody or having coffee. And the times in my life that I have like not been happy with my job is I can look back and be like, oh, I haven't really hung out with anybody. That's probably why, right? And so I'm an extrovert. I'm kind of go with the flow. I'm a big feeler, right? Like I have big feelings. And so that's all what Myers-Briggs taught me. And again, that was the very first personality test I ever took. And it really helped me to just kind of know more about myself as a person and start to like that part of yourself. The Myers-Briggs test is very encouraging. So this is the actual official test. It does cost. It's not super expensive. There are free tests you can take online too. So I'm not going to advertise the free ones, but literally if you like type in free Myers-Briggs, you'll find free ones also. So the next test is the Enneagram. That is the second personality test I got into. Anybody Enneagram fans? I love the Enneagram. So Myers-Briggs was like, oh look, we have everybody posting their stuff. INFPs, ISTJs, INFJs all day. I love it. So good. Okay, so yes, if you know your Myers-Briggs, post it below. Anybody want to guess what I am if you're a Myers-Briggs geek? You're not supposed to type other people, but I do it all the time. You can type me if you want. Guess. So I took Enneagram and my Myers-Briggs, I don't know if anybody else feels this way. Myers-Briggs was like so like encouraging and uplifting. It's like, this is who I am and I love it. And I'm like so proud of myself. Man, Enneagram's a jerk. Like Enneagram, it tells you who you are, but also like kind of digs in a little bit. And it like exposed a lot of my weaknesses, honestly, as well. Because if you didn't guess, let's see if anybody tried to guess what I am. I don't think anybody tried to guess. It's okay. So I'll just tell you. I am an Enneagram 7. I am a 7 wing 8 for sure. And so if you read the 7, like 7s are very big dreamers, big idea people, big like we're more like go with the flow, generally like people, like we're just very I used to always think so when I took Myers-Briggs, it was like, oh, like ESFP, like we're the fun ones. They call it the entertainer, right? Like we're the fun ones. And that's really what I thought. And I love fun. Like I am like kind of obsessed with having fun. However, I learned that was what Myers-Briggs showed me is like, I'm the entertainer, I'm the fun one. Then I took Enneagram, and this is where Enneagram will stab you with a knife. It was, oh, wait, I'm not like the fun one. It's more that I won't do something unless it's fun, which is actually can be a very terrible trait. because like I just won't finish things if they're not fun. Like it's actually really bad. It's part of like some of the struggles I have in my life are associated with that, right? But again, it pointed out and it really just shone a light onto areas of myself of like, oh, okay, it's getting to know not just the positive, but some of my weaknesses as well, right? And so Enneagram was huge for me, and Enneagram has been really great as we build a team as well. And so one of the things with Enneagram is that you can learn more about yourself. You can learn how you are as a leader. You can learn how you are in relationships. And then how people work well together. So, one of the things that we do here at the Virtual Savvy is that every person who joins our team, we actually have them take the Enneagram test and they meet with an Enneagram coach. Every single person, right? Her name's Marcy McConnell. She's amazing. You should reach out to her because she's really good at what she does. So she helps each one of us identify our Enneagram. And then what's awesome is that I, like, as their manager, I get that report. And then I learn so much about that person because, like, a lot of people don't even know, oh, this is how I work best. This is how I receive feedback. But if I see it in an Enneagram profile, then I can say, hey, okay, I need to give this person some feedback on their work. I can literally look up and say, how does this type of person generally, of course, there are variances. You can't type a person just by a number, and I know that. But generally speaking, how would this person be most likely to receive feedback the best, right? Like what's going to give me the best chance of communicating this feedback effectively? And so this is why, not only for yourself, you can take this and so you can tell your clients like, hey, just so you know, like I love feedback. This is the way I receive feedback best. If you want to give me feedback, like that's great, man. As a client, I would love to hear that. Also, if you learn your clients' Enneagram numbers, then you're going to be able to, again, communicate with them even more effectively, and you're going to know what they're looking for, right? Like are they going to, or do they want the big idea, or do they want all the details? You're going to learn more about that if you learn their Enneagram. So these are both tests. Again, there is a free one. This is a paid one, but it's a good one. So Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, and then the last test that I took, and I really do think that these stack on top of each other. So if you're going to just do the whole thing, do all three of them. I think that that's great. The last one that I took personally was Strength Finders. I just took this within the last year, and this is the one that I've been really diving into because it was the moment where I decided, like, I want to live with my strengths. Like I want to embrace so essentially what the Strength Finders is, you can find the book on Amazon. There's tests you can take online too, but I like the book because then you have something physical and there's a code inside of it that you can go take the test with the book, and then you get like an actual physical book. So, and you can look up your stuff in the book, like what your strengths are. So essentially what the Strength Finders is there's a list of like, I think 70 something strengths that people have. And you take this quiz and it tells you what your top 5 strengths are. And so, and you can purchase to know all the rest of them. But really, I like the idea of not knowing what the rest of them are, because at the end of the day, like I don't need to make my weaknesses better. Let me just dive into my strengths. Like these are the things that I love to do. And so for me, I learned that my strengths are that I'm strategic and I'm futuristic, right? Like I'm a visionary. I love looking at the future. I have positivity. I have communication, which is why I like coming on and talking to you guys, and woo, which is winning others over, which I guess, I don't know. I'm probably, hopefully likable. Maybe some people don't like woo, and that's fine. But essentially, I'm supposed to be likable, I guess. My husband actually has positivity, communication, and woo. And so we like love to have people over all the time. Like we're like, come over, come over, come over. And then afterwards, sometimes we're like, we're probably a lot for some people. Like there's probably people that don't like us because we're like, come over. I'm like, bah! Like we just really, really, really love people hard. And we're a lot when people come over for dinner. So, but because we both have positivity, woo, and woo communication in our top 5 strengths. So um where was I going with that? So this is Strength Finders. I really recommend it because, again, if you can do what you love, okay, you identify your top 5 strengths, you craft your services, you like, you guys are crafting your dream life. Do you realize that? Like I don't know how many of you are newer to your VA journey, but you are literally in the process of crafting the life of your dreams. Like, that's a big freaking deal. So, like, if you're going to do it, do it. Like, learn your strengths. Learn, man, if I could have the dream job, I would only be doing these things. Right. And for me, it's like, strategy and futuristic. Like, I love being an entrepreneur. I love leading a big business, leading a team where I can cast vision and other people follow it. I love communicating that vision to my team. I love keeping a positive attitude. So, like, I was built to be an entrepreneur with a team. Maybe you look at your strengths and you're like, maybe I'm not built to be an entrepreneur with a team. Maybe I'm meant to reach people one on one. And maybe I'm meant to this, or maybe I'm meant to be more creative, or maybe I love like just figuring out details and I want to be tech, like behind the scenes, and just really figuring things out for one-on-one clients, right? And so the more that you know, these are my strengths, you craft, this is what my dream job would be, and then you can work backwards and make that job for yourself. And maybe you can't overnight, right? Like, I could, if I knew my strengths way back when I started in 2015, I couldn't be like, okay, I'm going to hire a team of 20 full-time employees. Like, I didn't have the means to do that, right? But I was able to start slowly building something to now that's what I do. And so I love this idea of really coming in, learning your strengths, embracing them, drawing a picture, getting a really clear mental picture of what would my dream life be, and then work backwards. And that's the finish line, right? Is doing that and waking up each day where like I'm just getting to operate in my strengths, because that's where you're going to be the most fulfilled. We are happiest when we're just living, doing the things that are naturally inside of us. You're naturally good at it. Okay. So Strength Finders is one of my must-read books for 2022. By the way, we just released a new YouTube video today. If you haven't checked it out, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can go to thevirtualsavvy.com/YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribing, following. I don't know. I'm bad at whatever it is. Click the bell to be notified every time I go live. That's what I say. Um, so, but you can see my other top business books. And Strength Finders is one of them. Even though it's not technically a business book, it has been one of the biggest game changers for me in my business. So I would highly recommend that you check out the other books that we have as well. Okay, so you are happiest when you work in your strengths. And that's when we talk about how to find your entrepreneurial superpower, which is like the theme of today's conversation. It's really finding out who you are. And what's awesome is that your personality isn't going to look like anybody else's in this room. Even though you may be one of nine numbers, right? Like your strengths combined with this personality, combined with the work that you love, combined with your experience and your passions, like all of that combined creates who you are and who you were built to be, right? And when you are actually just living that out, it's when you're going to be the most fulfilled and the happiest. And that's your superpower. And so you're happiest when you work in your strengths. And so I want to know if some of you guys already know this, like, or maybe you've had an aha moment as we've been talking. What kind of services could you offer that align with your natural strengths? Maybe some of you guys have taken strength finders, right? And so, like, hey, I actually have communication also. So maybe writing or speaking would be something that'd be good for me. Or I do have the execution strengths. I do have some of the ones that are just, hey, I get stuff done. So maybe some of those admin tasks, attention to detail type of things would be really good for you. So, off of what you already know about yourself, what kind of services could you offer that align with your natural strengths? And if you're still unsure, I really believe, especially VA specific, go take our quiz. It's totally free. And you can kind of find out based off of my personality what kind of genre of tasks. Usually we fall into like, I am more of a creative person. I'm more technical. I'm more administrative, right? And so this is going to help you figure out which one you are more naturally and give you actually a list of like titles and services that you could offer based off of your personality. It's a really great quiz. Okay, so what kind of services can you offer that align with your natural strengths? Let me see if any of you guys put those. I love this. Jen said, if it's not fun, I get bored easily. Oh my gosh, so much so. I am like the most easily bored person. It's terrible. It's terrible, but it's part of who I am, right? And so I embrace it. Helping people is my strength. I'm also creative. I love it, Samantha. So what kind of services could you offer? Nick says executive assistant, customer service. So good. Okay. I love this. Keep dropping these. I love hearing from you guys. Let's do this. I have a little bit more time. If you guys want to do just a general Q&A, any questions that you have for me, drop them in the comments about starting your virtual assistant, about any of these personality tests, about what I've learned throughout them, about choosing your services. Like, totally drop them in the comments if you have any questions for me. I'll also note this, guys, if you are really figuring out, man, this is what I think I'd be really good at, but I don't know how to do that, right? Like sometimes we can have the passion and we can have like the natural strengths, but we don't have the abilities yet, right? Like we don't like I still need to learn how to do the thing, right? Like I've had the strength of communication, but it wasn't until I learned the actual abilities of copywriting that I became a good copywriter, right? And so if you're wanting to hone your craft and your skills, definitely check out Savvyvault. It is our tech training membership, tech and industry training. So you can learn things like how to be a course creator, how to, do email marketing, how to set up Dubsado, right? And so we have all these different types of tech and industry trainings, over 70 actually. And it's just a monthly membership, cancel anytime, and you get access to 70 plus trainings. So if you're wanting to hone your skills, this would definitely be the place to start. Awesome. So let's jump into Q&A. What questions do you guys have for me? I'm happy to hang out for a bit and answer them. I feel like there was a question in the very beginning that I didn't see. Here is it. Okay, Samantha asks, can I ask something? Yes, you can. I believe I want to help online course creators and business owners. I want to be a virtual assistant. What are all the services you need as an online course creator? Oh, that's so good. So, again, I love that niche. There's so many, online businesses, online course creators. So I love that niche is something that you're interested in. I would actually start first with your own strengths and personality. So, what are you good at, right? Because you can try to craft and do everything that a course creator needs, but the reality is that a course creator needs admin help. They need creative help. They need technical help. So, I would start with the things that you're naturally more inclined to do. So, go take that quiz that we have, right? Virtualsavvy.com/quiz. Find out if you are more inclined to be creative or technical, administrative, whatever. And then kind of say, okay, like I do admin tasks for course creators, right? There's your niche, done. Or I provide tech support services for course creators. So that's what I would recommend. All right, what do we have? More questions. I love this. Writing, creative, mesh with my admin background and needing to laugh all day. Yay! I feel like you and I would get along really well. Where did you take your Enneagram test? So I think I took my official test through my Enneagram coach. Her name's Marcy McConnell, the Reclaimed Life, Reclaimed Soul. I forget. Marcy McConnell. Enneagram. If you Google that, you'll find her. She's amazing. If you're looking for an Enneagram coach, she's probably gonna get like an influx of people now. She works with some of my like other 6 and 7 figure business owner friends too, and works with their teams. Like, she's really great. But the Enneagram Institute is a great place to take it. There's also like My Enneagram Coach. I know has another paid test, but it's like a really good one. And then you can just type in Enneagram test and there'll be some free ones. Maybe if you're going to take a free one, maybe take like 3 or 4 free ones and make sure it says the same thing. Cause I know people have taken some of the free tests and then they hear the results and they're like, oh, I don't know. That doesn't really sound like me. If it doesn't sound like you, if you're like, I don't think so, maybe read a few of the others. Like, what was your second result, and see if that one resonates more. And there's sometimes like people will be mistyped as well. So like a lot of moms naturally get typed as 2s, which 2s are like the caregivers, because like you just adopt caregiving ability. So like I actually scored really high as an Enneagram 2, if anyone knows me, like I am not a 2, like at all. But like you just naturally will like, yeah, I take care of people. I take care of 2 little humans all day long. So it's a good idea to if you get like your first number and your second one, read both of them and then figure out just which one actually feels more like you, you know? Um I'm new here. Any advice? So, if you're just starting out, like if this is maybe the first time you've tuned in to me, learning about virtual assistants, honestly, the best place to start is we have a free webinar training. If you've liked the way that I teach, you like learning about virtual assistants, this is Become a Booked Out Virtual Assistant. It's a free 60-minute training. So, you want to make sure you have 60 minutes blocked off. But the virtualsavvy.com/BBO is a free training that teaches you kind of what a VA is, what kind of services you can offer, tells you how to get your first client. It is a jam-packed training and it's totally free. So go and watch that if you are brand new here. Thanks for coming. Awesome. Oh, can we start a Savvy Book Club? So um to be honest, oh man, see, I've offended dog lovers and book readers in this live stream already, which are 2 people who are very passionate about the things that they love. So I am not a huge book reader. Like today I'm talking about like my favorite books of 2022. The reality is those were the books that were recommended to me. And I was like, they were life-changing because I actually read them. Like I am so terrible at finishing books. So I started using something called Blinkist. So if you're good at starting books, but not finishing them, Blinkist is really good. And all the people who are like true book readers just don't like me anymore, and that's fine. But yes, you guys should start a Savvy Book Club for sure. I would not be very good in that book club. I'd come every week and be like, I didn't read what I was supposed to. Oh. Oh, this is awesome. I recently discovered I love creating on Canva. Um, oh, I don't know. I'm a big Canva fan. I don't know if it's against like sometimes we are both. Sometimes we can be like creative and visionary. We can be like kind of tech and kind of admin or kind of tech and kind of creative, right? And that's where, if you're semi tech and semi creative, like Pinterest management, right? It's like diving into analytics and being creative. So there are services for every single type of person. Oh, we already answered this question. I'm in Savvyvault. It's a great place to start. I'm so glad that you love it. So, the courses we don't do a certification for our Savvyvault courses. They are literally, it's like Netflix a training. So you are going through, we're talking about Savvyvault. There it is. What Savvyvault is it's literally like boom, 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 all the information you need, but we don't offer certifications in them. To be honest, like the price that we offer for this membership is very low. It's $47 a month, cancel anytime. So you could come in, pay $47 and literally take all 70 courses on there right now if you wanted to, which we love that. We don't have certifications for those because honestly, it would increase the cost. We'd have to increase the time that we commit to making certifications because if we're going to do a certification, it's going to mean something. It's going to be like, no, we certified you. So it is something that we've explored and we're open to in the future. But for right now, just to keep costs down and to keep getting more info to you guys, we don't have certs. I will say this, most tools, like if you want to get certified in something, a lot of like the big tools do their own certifications. And I honestly think that those are some of the best ones to do. So for instance, I'm pretty sure like Dubsado has their own, I know Honeybook does, like they have their own certification project. Funnel Gorgeous is Julie and Kathy. They created their software and then they created a certification to go with their software, right? And so like we could certify people in those tools in Dubsado or in Funnel Gorgeous or, Honeybook or whatever, but it actually holds a lot more weight just to come from the actual tool itself. So if you're wanting to get certified in a specific tool, I would recommend seeing if that tool itself actually has their own certifications. Okay. Good questions though, guys. This is a fun question. I want to brand my business better. I'm thinking of a photo shoot. Yes, always go do photo shoots. I love professional photo shoots. I didn't at the beginning. I hated it. But once you find a good photographer, you will actually like photo shoots. So there's I mean, if you know your company colors, like that's one of the first things we do and like with our students who go through our program on how to be a VA is you pick out like your logo and your name and your colors. So if you haven't chosen colors for your business, I would recommend doing it anywhere from like 3 to 5 colors that you're just going to use consistently. And you can create a little brand board, right? I actually have a YouTube video on how to create a brand board in Canva. So you can go check out that and then choose your colors and then try to do. I mean, you can always do black and white, like black and white look great in almost every picture. But then, other than that, maybe do some pops of color with what you've chosen off of your brand board. Fun question. I like that. Um, the difference between Hello Savvy and Savvyvault. Oh, you guys are talking about Hello Savvy. So, Savvyvault is again, it's that tech training membership where you purchase Savvyvault. It's a month-to-month membership, and we do post job opportunities occasionally inside of the group. Like people will come to the virtual Savvy and say, "Hey, I want to hire a Savvy person." So we actually post those job opportunities to all of our courses. So this is essentially a course. Hello Savvy is a brand new platform that we are creating. If you've ever used like Upwork or Fiverr or freelancer.com, it's going to be very similar with a lot of unique nuances to it, where anyone clients can come and post jobs. You can create your own profiles. They're going to be beautiful profiles. So we're going to have jobs listed there as well. Let me put it, if you guys aren't already on the wait list for Hello Savvy, we actually have a brand new wait list. Oops, I put it in the comments, but that's good. I'll put it as a banner as well. One second. HelloSavvy.com. Get on the wait list for Hello Savvy if you haven't. And this page describes what it's going to be. We're opening it in September. It's going to be a game changer, you guys. We are on a mission to change the way hiring happens online. And you're going to see when you go to our sales page, like our waitlist page, what we're doing. And it's pretty epic. I'm really excited. There's nothing that exists like this on the internet right now, and it's going to be really good. So, Hello Savvy, it is opening in September, Susie. Oh, it's getting so close. I'm very excited. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading all your comments, you guys. I just love reading your comments. Oh my goodness. Can introverts be good virtual assistants? Yes, Carol. In fact, I would say it's probably split pretty evenly. Like, so we have a course that teaches people how to start their own virtual assistant business, right? And so we've kind of asked the question before, how many of you guys are introverts versus extroverts? And it's been pretty split down the middle. And so even our most successful students, many of them are introverts. And there's so much that appeals to being there's so much to introverts that is appealing about virtual assistants, right? Like you're literally working from home. Like you can just snuggle in bed and work on your laptop, like being all cozy on your couch. And that's what you can do every day of your life. Like all the introverts say, yay. And all the extroverts go, I'm going to go work at a coffee shop. Right. And it really goes into your personality plays so much into how you'll market as well. You know, if you're an introvert, you might not want to go to live networking events every single weekend, right? Where extroverts may want to do that. And so there's different types of marketing that you can do that really play into your personality as well. And I cover some of those inside of this training, the virtualsavvy.com/BBO, that's become a booked out virtual assistant training. We cover some of the different types of marketing, and some of them are going to appeal more to extroverts and some of them are going to appeal more to introverts. So really good question. Are business cards unnecessary? I don't know. I'm still a fan of business cards. Here's what I would recommend, because they're nice just to have on you because you will just strike up conversations with people in the most unlikely places. Like I've literally had some of our students say, "Hey, I got my first client. Like I was getting my nails done, and the salon owner came and talked to me, or I was getting my hair done, and the salon owner came and talked to me, right? Or I met a friend of a friend, and they own a business. I started telling them about my business at our kids' soccer game, and so I think that carrying business cards with you is awesome. And you can get some done really cheap. Vistaprint, right, always does good offers. Canva now does like just their printing. Here's my recommendation, okay? don't order thousands and thousands and thousands of them. My recommendation is keep it to like 1 or 200 because you're not going and like, unless if that's one of your marketing strategies is to go give your business card like to everyone. But start with a small batch. One, it's a smaller investment. And two, you may change your services. You may change things along the way. My very first business card had my phone number on them, like my personal cell phone number. And after a while, I was like, oh, I don't want to just be giving that out to everyone I meet. Right. And so, like, and some of you do. And so, like, your business, you may change your name, you may change your services, you may change your tagline. So, because things are so like adjustable in the beginning of your business, I usually tell people to yes, get business cards, but like um like only order like 100 or 200 is my personal recommendation. Hmm. So good. Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh, this is a question for Savvy System. So we will still post job opportunities inside of, we're still going to have like where people can post jobs inside of our group. There's going to be jobs posted inside of Savvy System, like the ones that come to us are still going to come there. We're not changing that. We're just going to let people that post those jobs know, like, hey, in the future, you can also post your job on Hello Savvy. So, we're planning for Hello Savvy to be a huge platform with tons of jobs listed there. So it's going to be beneficial, but we're not going to take away what you guys have already been benefiting from. We're not planning to do that. So yeah, there'll still be free jobs posted in our group. No, nothing wrong with more jobs posted, right? So good. Hello Savvy is not just for experienced VAs. No, you are going to be able to show off your experience there, but new people can join as well. How to avoid difficult clients? This is a really great question. I think we could do an entire live stream on this. I would definitely, again, learn your personality, learn the personalities that you work well with, and learn some of the big red flags. So I'm pretty sure we've done live streams on this before. But some of the big red flags is if they are like really, really trying to work down your price. I have found that the people that like really haggle you on your pricing, it is just a big red flag that they're going to be difficult in general and they're not going to value your worth. So if you find somebody really haggling down your price, even if they're doing it in a nice way, I just it I haven't had an experience where those people are enjoyable to work with, right? I also think that doing like a free, not a free, goodness, not a free, like a 1 month trial with somebody is a really great idea with anybody, right? Like if you are starting services, like ongoing services, say, hey, why don't we do this? Let's do this for 30 days. After 30 days, we'll regroup and we'll see, like, is this working? And then if it's not, like, no hard feelings, we can move on. But that kind of gives you an out with if you are working with somebody and you're like, I'm just not really feeling this, then you can let them know at that 30-day mark, like, hey, like, I just don't think that this is working out. I have some other recommendations for you, so again, kind of looking for some of those big red flags and then just putting things in place that if you do fall into, oh, I am with a difficult client, that you're able to relieve yourself from that situation pretty easily. Oh, Susie took the quiz. She's a helper. That's so good. So the helper, I mean, man, so much of the helper, if you are also good at admin's tasks, I think that a lot of times the helpers are really good at like systems and processes. Or you might just be really good at doing like customer service. You might sell packages where you do like course launch support, right? Where you're like, I'm going to come in or I'm going to do email management packages, or I'm going to be, like a lot of our helpers inside of the Virtual Savvy are actually, they come in and they become coaches for our programs. So you could even have services where you come in, you learn the person's program, right? Like, let's say there's somebody who's teaching a course, a parenting course, right? You go in, you take their course, you learn it, and then you can be a support person. So they're not having to support every single student inside of their digital course. You can come in and be like a course support specialist, right? Like I literally just made up that title, but that sounds like really cool. I'm like, that'd be a cool job for the right person, right? So many ways you could go with it. I love it. I love us thinking like outside the box. So good. Should you do VA as a solopreneur or through a VA agency? So I'm always a fan of going at it your own route. You're going to be doing the same services anyways, right? So rather than making like $12 to $15 an hour, you could be making $30 to $45 an hour doing the exact same services if you just do a little bit more work to start your own business. The biggest difference is marketing, right? As working for a VA agency, you don't have to do the marketing. The clients come to you. If you decide to, because they're coming through the agency, right? If you decide to work for an agency, it's fine. Check your contract, because one of the things that I've seen happen is that people work for an agency and without realizing it, they sign a contract that says that they can't also run their own business. And I just really don't recommend that. Like, I had a friend who literally had to wait a year before she could start her own business because she had signed a contract with someone she worked with saying that she wouldn't do the same type of services for anybody else outside of ending that contract for an entire year. So just really, really read your contracts, know what you're signing. If you work with a VA agency, nothing wrong with it. You are going to be making less money, but you don't have to do marketing. If you are like, man, I don't love marketing, but I think I could learn with a tool, that is where this training comes in handy. We talk about how to set up your own business, how to market, all of those things, which I usually recommend above working with an agency. Such good questions. All right, guys, I have to hop off. I have another meeting at 1 o'clock Central. I know we didn't get to all of the questions, but I love this last one. Hold on, I have to do this one because this is so me. What should we do if we enjoy doing too many things? I just really liked that question because Samantha, I relate to it so much. Like, I love doing so many things. I would choose a few. Like, you can have a list of services, right? Like, when you're first starting out, it's okay to say, like, here's the 20 things that I do, and I offer them to all business owners. Like, you don't have to niche down in the beginning. I promise, once you actually start doing those services, you're going to have some aha moments of like, oh, like, this is what I like doing. This is what I don't like doing. Right. Or maybe like you like all the things and you keep offering all those things and you become an agency that has all these different services. Right. Like, there's no wrong answer. So I don't think it's bad that you want to offer a lot of different services inside your business. What I don't want happening, and this is what I see happen a lot, is that sometimes people who love too many things, Samantha, you need to go on Amazon and buy the book Essentialism. Essentialism is an amazing book for people who are like us, who are like, "Rah, I have 100 things that I want to do." And it talks about the power of focusing. So even if if you're going to offer a lot of services, I think that's fine in your business in the very beginning. But what I don't recommend doing is starting multiple businesses. And that is what a lot of people will do, is that they will try to, well, let me start a VA business, but I also want to start a podcast, and I also want to start a course, and I also am a mom, and I also am all these other things. And it's like, oh, like, let's narrow that down. Because that focus is going to be way too much. But if you want to offer a lot of services when you're first starting out in this one business that you're starting, I think that that's totally fine. So, really great question, you guys. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again. I have truly enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I always love these times together, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye.